wrecked cars, the first pair, Jeremy Finley and S-Kicker taking on Mike Yosha.
This is going to be a good run, too. Finley, he's a hard charger in this sport. And Yosha, like I say, this guy, you get behind them glasses, he's got the Harley mentality. He likes to crank it wide open. Both of them running supercharged engines, going late in the field. Will Height showed you could get down the track if you skip on top of the mud. Let's see if either one of these guys can figure that out. Great runs, Gary.
271, the time to beat. Finley at 282. A good run puts him up high on the leaderboard, but not on top.
There's a look at Jeremy Finley, driver of the S-Kicker. His last Class 5 win coming at Essex Junction, Vermont. A year ago, inches deep at the start and narrows up to 12 at the end. He's going to be racing Jeremy Finley. The time to beat, 2.472.
And believe me, Finley is capable of doing it. Matter of fact, both drivers can bump this number 18 inches. Why is it thicker on the start line? Real simple. That's where they're going to be digging it up more. It does taper to that 12.
Well, they're tearing through the sand. I don't know if that's going to beat the fast time on the track. Jeremy Finley gets a 2.54, and I'm getting word that Brian Fry got a 2.85.
Both good numbers, but Finley capable of going much quicker. We're going to watch a replay. All four corners plant, but about the 150-foot mark, something happened to the vehicle and instantly killed his horsepower, Tom.
Let's see if we can find out exactly what it was. Army, can you find out?
Jeremy, the car sounded real good and then all of a sudden shut off. What happened?
That bottom blower pulley exploded. Broke off.
Okay, now what he's talking about, I want to take the camera and go down here. You have a top blower pulley, an idler pulley, and there's a bottom pulley that normally sits here. He literally exploded that bottom pulley. Remember, we were telling you the size of the pulley indicates the amount of force that you're expecting out of your blower. He had this thing on kill in order to make that thing explode.
Take a look first at Jeremy Finley, who won the Class 5 competition here in Vermont. Now, he has drawn the bad lane for his first pass. He drives the S-Kicker.
You got to remember, the only difference between Class 5 and this class is the type of tires they're running. Speaking of running, this guy's a many-time national champion. Ron Pence will be in the lane that's been designated so far as the good lane. First shot out of both lanes. Let's see what kind of numbers we're going to be looking at, Gary.
Look at Finley walk the dog through the mud. It looked like a good run in both lanes. Finley at 252.
Yeah, but let's see what happened over in a good lane. The number comes up, 249. So already we've distinguished that we do have an advantage in one of the lanes, Gary.
Well, Tater with the slight advantage in that right lane. Let's take a look now at Ron Pence as he picks up the front end. A fairly straight run for Ron, but understand there was a problem on Finley's S-Kicker. Here's Army with that story.
Jeremy Finley cut a 252 on a real good run. The big scoopers grabbed, pulled the car up in the air, and he was making all kind of horsepower. Then something happened. The blower belt broke, and it took all the horsepower away. Normally, the blower belt goes right around here. There's an idler pulley here. The belt is completely gone. As soon as that blower belt went away, took all the horsepower away from him, and that's when he landed this puppy.
And Jeremy Finley had a 252 out of the bad lane. Now remember, he had a problem with that belt, so if he gets that blower belt to last a full run, he could have a good one.
Yeah, I think he can get the blower belt problem solved. The big question is the tire combination. Does they have the right tire on the front and the rear? You can see the different tread patterns right there.
Finley had a problem right away. A slow run for Finley. Let's check Brian's foolish pleasure at 324. And Jeremy at 391. Those guys will not be happy with either. And now we're ready for competition to continue with the S-Kicker. Here's a real wild man. Army, this is Jeremy Finley.
Smiling Jeremy Finley out of West Virginia. This guy would tap dance in a minefield. I'm telling you, he has a philosophy about him. He just goes hard. That's all you can say about him. Same basic setup that the other guys have, except he's cut the top off his 32 Vicky. Who's he going to be going up against?
Well, there's Bill Bibas out of New Jersey, the Hillside Scrambler. Scrambler in the far lane, and Jeremy in the near lane.
Bibas is giving away a whole lot of weight right there as Jeremy moves in. This vehicle is almost identical to the two Mud Patrols we saw, with the exception they've cut the top off. I asked him why. He said, I want to be able to see where I'm going, especially at Bloomsburg. Back to our starter.
Nobody can see where they're going today.
Oh, but he went there quick, even if he couldn't see. He's coming across.
Hang on now, he's off in the other man's shutdown area. A 3.104 for Jeremy. He's taking a shortcut back to the pit area. He took a real shortcut right across the lane of Bill's. Bill's time of 4.109.
Left turn, Clyde, when he came out of the pit.
Another look coming right at you. Good run, but he had some trouble in the shutdown area. And right there, he's in trouble. Sawing on the steering wheel, climbs on the brakes, gets her woed without getting in too much trouble, despite the fact he's in the wrong shutdown area. Let's go back trackside, Army.
Jeremy, a 3.104 showing the track will hold the horsepower, but what did you find out there other people can't find?
I don't know. I guess I just got lucky. Pit's pretty bad shape right now. I don't think it's going to get no better, that's for sure.
Where you in Bloomsburg? Keep you in the top 8.
As we are ready now for competition, first we look at Class 6, the paddle tires. Mike Yosha out of Indianapolis in Hyperactive and Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker.
You noticed a moment ago in the graphics, Finley was coming up tight and cinching down his shoulder harness because he knows a ride at Bloomsburg is better than an e-ticket ride at Disney World. Good-looking young guy out of Virginia. S-Kicker's the name of the vehicle. Both of these bodies started out to be the same type of body. Yosha kept the top on his, but Finley cut the top off. The reason Finley cut it off, he said, I kept flipping, tearing it off. We might as well leave it off.
Luck of the draw. Important here with this track to go early in the competition.
Exactly. It's rutting up late in the field. That's the book on the track.
All right, Yosha gets out of it. Let's check the time for Mike Yosha, Hyperactive at 2:60. That will set the benchmark right now, and a 2:68 for Jeremy Finley.
Gary, I'm impressed. You mentioned how the luck of the draw plays in the sport. Well, the reason it plays in the sport so heavy is we're looking at Yosha. Look how smooth he is. He's up on top and running good. In the near lane, however, the big story is the far lane is a good lane, too. We got a good look at Finley looking right down the barrel of this gun. The track is smooth for the first out.
Now, once again, the object is to get up on top that mud if possible. It starts to rut up as the competition continues. Let's go back trackside. Here's Mike Yosha.
Mike, you in the extremes over first two runs, net identical 261 times, Gary. One by Chevrolet or Chrysler and one by Ford.
Jeremy Finley coming up next in the S-Kicker. There's a look at Jeremy.
Finley relies on the supercharged Chevrolet engine, but who's he going up against the other lane, Gary?
Joey Quick, the nickname for Joey Valerial.
Both drivers know what they're going to have to do, Gary. The 261's a good number. However, they're still early in the field. Somebody could still bump that number. Could it be one of these two guys? We're going to find out right now. Remember, it's the clock they're racing. They're not racing each other. You race the clock in this sport.
Oh, a good run by both. Let's check the times.
261's what they had to beat.
260 for Joey Quick, a 260.
That makes him quick of the day. Oh,
Look
no.
at this.
Yeah.
A 253 for Jeremy Finley, and that takes him to the top of the leaderboard.
What a run by Finley. Like I say, you're racing the clock here. So Finley waits to get the light he wants and just muscles it on the other end.
What a great ride for Jeremy Finley. He is leading at 253.
Jeremy, a 253. That's an awfully fast run.
Yeah, we've got it dialed in right now. I couldn't have did it without the help of my brother and my family, that's for sure.
Driving in this purple passion, and there's a look at S-Kicker. This is Jeremy Finley. Oh, they have their work cut out for them, a 3.15.
Finley comes over from Virginia. Finley started the event with the top on the car, but they decided to go ahead and cut the top off. They said, man, I want to be able to see. Whoa, we got problems now on the other end.
Hang on, and Jeremy gets it stopped before he collects one of those barricades down there.
Check the time, Gary.
297.
That's an awful shot, but the other lane went a 393, Gary. That was a rocket ride for both of them.
Well, there's your new leader, the man to beat, Jeremy Finley at 297. This is how he did it. Now, as you mentioned earlier, they chopped the top off this car, cut the top off to enhance the visibility. Look at him fight the steering wheel as he drives to a 2.97 and slides to a stop. He's trackside with Army Armstrong.
Well, Jeremy Finley's literally got the crowd on their feet. You bumped the magic 2-second barrier. How'd that feel out there to you?
It felt like a good run. I was happy with it.
How do you know when to leave? It's up to you, the driver. The light's already green, but when do you know it's right to go?
When everything feels ready to go.
You get froggy, you just jump, huh?
Yeah. I was sort of waiting for the other guy, but he didn't want to go.
You're jumping good today. Let's see if that holds out for you.
All right, appreciate it.
All he can do now is wait.
Shutdown area. The guys can go real fast through the mud, but when they get into the shutdown area, It's a hard pack mud. Jeremy Finley's going to be coming out of the Bluefield, West Virginia area in the S-Kicker. He'll be going up against the Ford-powered Boss.
That's right, Jeff Myers in this 1927 Ford for the 575 Ford power plant. He comes to us out of Holland, Michigan, driving the Boss.
Whoa, Finley comes out there like a rocket. He gets his shutdown okay on that big end. Meanwhile, in the other lane, the Boss Ford of Jeff Myers not going to make it through. Now, that'll make them real bad ruts for those that are sitting in the lanes behind him. Let's go down trackside. I believe Dave caught up with Jeremy Finley.
Wildman Finley, a great first run out of the near lane, a 2.74.
Yeah, it was a good run. It hooked up once it got off the line, went out the other end flying.
We'll just step aside, stand on some high ground. Fred Wilhite.
But right now, let's head to the starting line where we find Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker. He's going to be going up against Mark Dura in the split-second car, one of our rear-engine setup cars this weekend. Mark comes to us out of Moundsville, West Virginia.
Yeah, we're going to be keeping an eye on both these fellas. They draw earlier in the field. The vehicles, the way they're going to react is what everybody's going to be keeping an eye on. Rear motor, solid axle, more rigid. S-Kicker, far side, a real top-end charge.
Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker. Hold on, look out. He's heading for the water barrier.
Had the back pedal on the throttle. Look at that, a 2.7 with a 4. Finley's looking good. Meanwhile, in the other lane, a 3.19. Not going to be the number that driver was looking for.
Well, on the replay, you can see the S-Kicker kicking some horsepower right off the starting line, Army.
Yeah, he picks it up and literally skips across the track. But watch him in the shutdown area. Now, look at his hands. See, he's really starting to work that vehicle. He's trying to hit the throttle to pull it out. He is manhandling this thing like a school bus driver, if you will, but he got it all squared away.
Our first matchup is going to feature Jeremy Finley, who always seems to draw his number near the head of the field. He'll be taking on Roger Sherwood in Stressed Out. Now, Sherwood had an impressive showing in the Class 5 race here, running in the 2.5 range.
The way the track is, as muddy as it is, or excuse me, as sandy as it is, it's almost like running concrete. I don't think you got such thing as a good lane and a bad lane. I think you can put power to both lanes, and we're going to find out when Finley throttles up here in just a second. Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Quick times. Those have got to be. Jeremy Finley, look at that. A 2.4 and a 2.5 in the smooth lane right off the bat. It is going to be quick today, Arnie.
Well, that shows you these supercars, what they're doing. Watch Finley, man. He just grabs a hold of water and slings it on the other end. That's nothing but raw horsepower there, friend. That's a ride.
Tell you what, weather's not hurting. It's helping, and here's Army.
Jeremy, a 2.442 with a wheel stand. You think it'll hold up?
I don't know. It's a pretty good time, but I kind of doubt it will. It'll be hard.
A wet
Previous winners, the Mud Patrol and S-Kicker. Jeremy Finley in the S-Kicker, Tom Meents in the Mud Patrol. Both have won here at Indy.
That was a good mud race there.
Look at that for Tom Meents at 2.936. However, Finley was quicker. Finley's time was a 2.930 in the S-Kicker. He was the Class 6 event winner here back in 1991. Let's take a look again. And once again, Meents gets out first, but the competition is against the clock, not against each other. Here is Jeremy Finley.
Hey, Gary, this guy's got to have more guts than Dick Tracy. He's the first one to make a run through here today without a top on the vehicle. Does that affect you anymore being out in the open? Because you know you're going to get muddy.
The way the water's spraying, even if you're in an enclosed car, you can't hardly see going through there, because the first thing it does is cover you up.
So you made the run basically not being able to see where you're going?
Yeah, pretty much. You can sort of see, but it's fuzzy.
I guess in motorsports they call that blind luck. We're coming.